Hey beautiful people, I'm Lucy. This is Buster. He's joining me for a little bit of the video. He might just run off at any point, but he's here right now. He's a good dog, so say good dog in the comments. Anyway, today I'm talking about how to take amazing firework photos. I've learned a lot about doing firework photos because my first ones, I kid you not, were terrible. They were just awful. And you know, it takes some time, but there's some very easy things that you can do right now to level up your firework photos. And that is what we're gonna talk about in this video. How to make your firework photos lit like this sparkler. He does not like the sparkler. Tip number one is bring a tripod. This is essential for firework photos because for most firework photos, especially those really cool, bright, light traily ones, you have to do a long exposure. We're gonna get into the settings and how to do that in a little bit, but just know that for long exposures, your camera can't move. It has to stay completely still and steady, and so that means you can't really do it handheld. I mean, you could try, but your photo's gonna look blurry and it's not gonna work unless you're really going for something very specific. If you just want to get a great shot, you need a tripod. Tip number two is to bring along some props. Now before we get into the technical, into the settings, I want you to think a little bit about the creative. How you're going to make your firework photo look different than all the other firework photos that are out there or all the photos that people are going to take at this event. Start thinking a little bit out of the box. Bring along props, maybe plan out your shot beforehand. You could even get a model and stage something. One of my favorite photos that I did recently was I brought along a sparkler. It was a better sparkler than the one I used in the intro today. It was like a really good sparkler, and I actually just kind of moved it around the front of the lens, you know, enough distance that I didn't torch my lens, but around the front of the lens while I took the photo. So in the background you have the awesome firework, and then in the foreground you have this really cool light trail. That was something that was like literally pick up a $5 pack of sparklers and do something really, really neat. Now for fireworks, I think props that look really cool would be anything that reflects or creates light. So mirrors, glasses, light wands, sparklers, maybe even car lights. Anything that can kind of create another bit of dimension is going to be really, really cool for your shot. Tip number three is to put your camera on manual mode. Now the type of camera you have isn't super important, so don't worry if you don't have a super expensive camera, a super expensive lens. Of course that's always great, but you can still take amazing firework photos with a pretty simple camera. For instance, this one I took on a Sony RX100 Mark III. That camera is under $1,000 now, and it took an awesome firework photo. So don't worry too much about the camera, but the thing that is really, really important is your camera has to be able to shoot on manual mode. Because if you just shoot on auto, hey, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get one great photo, but 9 times out of 10, auto is not gonna work for these types of photos. So here's the settings that you should start with. Keep in mind that you're gonna have to experiment as you go along, but I think that this is a really great starting point to just get a good base, and then you can kind of work from there. So for ISO, you want to keep that between 100 and 500. This is going to keep it low enough that you don't get a ton of noise in your photo, but you still have some wiggle room to create a bit more light if you need to. For f-stop, you want to go with something higher. This is going to ensure that more of your photo is sharp, and it also makes it easier to focus. I usually stay between f10 and f16. Shutter speed is really the most important setting when you're working with firework photos. This is going to determine how long or how quick you want that shutter to be. Now, for firework photos, we want it to be longer. That means that your shutter is actually going to open up and it's going to stay open for a longer period of time. I really like 8 seconds. I think that 8 seconds for it to stay open, you can capture a really great burst, maybe even a second firework burst will happen, and then the shutter will close. So what you're actually doing with this is you're leaving it open that whole time. You're capturing more light. The light's coming into your camera, so even though it's a darker photo, it's at night, then when that light blows, it looks amazing. Here are a couple photos at different shutter speeds to show you how it affects the photo. If the exposure is too quick, like this one, the photo just seems a bit underwhelming. The fireworks don't look like that exciting. On the other hand, if it's too long, like this one, there almost seems to be too much going on in the photo. Maybe it seems a bit too bright. That's why you want to find the good balance between too short and too long. You want to find that place in the middle, and I've always been really happy with an 8-second exposure. Tip number 4 is to use time delay. This is really, really important for any kind of long exposure photos, because as I've said, when that shutter is open, it captures everything that happens that entire time. So even when you press the shutter button on your camera, usually you might notice that you kind of move the camera a little bit. It kind of jitters or shakes or changes its position. Even if it's really, really slight, you'll notice, like in this photo, this is when I didn't use time delay, and you can just see the photo looks like, it just looks blurry, it's not sharp, it doesn't look great. So go into your camera, most cameras have this now, where you can at least set a 2-second or a 5-second time delay. What's gonna happen is that you'll press that shutter button, and then your camera's gonna wait 2 seconds to actually activate the shutter. Tip number 5 is to lock your focus. So maybe get to your location a little bit early, find your spot, set up your tripod, frame it up a little bit, and then pick something either in the sky, it could be a cloud, stars, or an object nearby where the fireworks are gonna go off. Set your focus to that, and then lock your focus. Turn it off of autofocus for sure. Because what's gonna happen if you leave it on autofocus, you're gonna miss shots, like it's just guaranteed. You're working with low light, you're working with unpredictable lights in the background, and what your camera's gonna try to do if it's on autofocus is it's just not gonna know where to focus. So it's gonna like be jittering, you're gonna get blurry photos, it's not worth it, so lock your focus. I have one more bonus tip for you guys, but first I wanna say thank you to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Storyblocks is the best place to get high quality stock footage. And actually at the beginning of this video, all those firework videos that you saw, yeah, that was from Storyblocks. When I was out taking those photos, my priority for the shoot was to get great photos. Even though I still wanted video, I knew I couldn't do both at the same time, but I knew that Storyblocks, they would pull through and they would have some awesome firework shots for me to use. So whether you just want to grab a quick clip or save money on a shoot, Storyblocks is the best place to do it. If you guys want to try out Storyblocks, go to storyblocks.com/LucyMartin and you'll be able to sign up for a free trial. All right, time for the bonus tip. And for this one, you guys are going to need a remote shutter release. That's something that either plugs into your camera or works wirelessly, where you can press a little button and activate the shutter. Now, you need this if you want to do this tip. What you're gonna do is put the exposure of your camera onto bulb mode. What this actually allows you to do is decide in real time how long you want that shutter to stay open for. So what you can do is actually just wait for the perfect firework to go off, see it's going off, and then maybe you hear another one, you're like, oh, I'm gonna leave it open a little bit longer, and then once you have 2 epic ones or 3 or however many, you can press that shutter and then you stop it and close it. This is really good to actually time the fireworks, because when you're taking these firework photos, you don't really know what's coming up next. You don't know when the great firework is gonna happen. And I've had it a lot of times where my shutter, I preset it, and right when it ended was when the coolest firework happened, and I was like, ah, no. So that's how I learned about this fun tip. All right, guys, if you guys want to see those firework photos, head over to @TheLucyMartin. If you take any cool firework photos this summer, be sure to tag me, send them my way. I always love to check them out. And I will see you next week. Peace. We're gonna do a video. Is that fun? It's fun. I actually think I'm gonna need a booster seat or something. I'm not high up enough. Okay, there we go. Booster seat for Lucy. Oh yeah, that's good. That's the stuff.